Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well, and welcome to, depending on wherever you may live or however you choose to look at your clock, a early morning or middle of the night bonus upload. Before we jump into it, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon. And folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. And yes, folks, they definitely do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to this early morning or middle of the night bonus upload, shall we? All right, so a little while ago today, I shared an older interview that I did with Robert Sharp, who he had and his family raised Rascal. Now, there's some questions in the comment section. Of course, people are like, I don't believe this guy, this, and that. That's up to you. One, I and you were not there. So unless we can go in the Wayback Machine and go to his property when this all occurred, that's the only way of verifying it. He clearly stated in the very beginning of everything that there was no photos, the government was involved, and this and that. This is the conclusion to all of the interviews that I did with him. This is all of the information he shared, condensed, and all the answers answered. I have a channel, I have a platform. A large part of this platform is dedicated to people sharing their experiences, people sharing their theories. Another part of my platform is my research, looking into the attacks and the cover-ups, the one missing 411 that I am obsessed with, the Tom Mezek case, and a little bit of looking into deep underground military bases and such. I do not pass judgment on anyone. I take Robert at his word. I can tell you one thing. The amount of time that I've talked to him, I've never caught him in a lie. Never faltered once. So, just like Victor. Anyway, let's get into it. And Tuesday and Wednesday, I just kind of needed some time, but I wanted to have uploads recorded for you all to listen to, and the new subscribers to get familiar with who Robert Sharp was. He is a very nice guy. He's on the live streams with us. He participates in the live streams. Just a really positive member of this community. And he has shared his experience with Rascal on one other channel, but not to the extent that he has here. So this is Rascal and Robert's last bit of information. This is Robert Sharp's last interview with us, and we find out exactly how everything went down. So with that, let's just jump into it right now. All right, everybody. Tonight I have Robert back with us. We are going to finish up his life with Rascal. Robert, how are you this evening?
I'm doing good.
It's good to hear you, and I'm glad you're feeling a little better. We were supposed to do this on Monday, but you weren't feeling good, so I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yep.
Now, like I said, and you had told me this will probably be the last interview. Now, I'm just going to turn the mic over to you because I don't want to take too much time out of the interview, and I know you've got a lot to share with us. So the mic is yours, my friend.
Yeah. Well, hey, everybody. How's it going? This part of my life with Rascal, this is going to be the hardest. This is the last year with him. This is the year 2000, the last year of Rascal. And last year of Lucy that stayed, his mate who stayed with us. This is probably going to be real difficult for me because I still feel the loss. Rascal's death was really, really hard on me because it felt like a part of my soul just passed with him. All through the late spring and summer, I noticed about Rascal when we would go hunting or camping and stuff. I noticed he was kind of, just not really feeling himself. Oh, we got along great and all that. Then it comes around to the month of November. Right around the 9th of November, Rascal started getting kind of real sick because he wouldn't eat or drink much. And his hair was getting real coarse and dry. Everybody was concerned, and Lucy just wouldn't leave his side at all. I mean, boom, she was there. Every other day, Rascal would either throw up or mess himself. He was rapidly losing weight. I mean, real bad. My sister and my girlfriend were doing their best to keep liquids in him. But to no avail. I couldn't even hardly sleep. I would hold him in my arms, and I pray for his leg, pray for him to live. So I was like begging, please don't die, please don't die. Dad and Mom looked at both of us. They started hugging us, trying to comfort me. Because 2 weeks before, Grandpa had died, and that was real hard. And Rascal and Lucy both started crying with real long, mournful howls. And now Rascal, my best friend, my pet, now he was dying. And he was the best part of my life, and there was nothing I could do. Please forgive me for a second. So the day that he passed, that morning, I was holding on to Rascal. He lifted his head, told me he loved me. For the final time, he looked at me. Then he put his huge head in my lap. He closed his eyes, and he was gone. tell you what, I cried for days and days. We buried him in the back of the house, and Dad planted a oak tree on top of him so no one would bother him. And until this day, he's protected. Lucy she howled for 2 days, holding me tight. Then right around the 5th day, she told me she had to leave. So she took the 2 pups and went back to the LBL. Rascal died on November the 17th. I mean, from March 17th, 1985 to November 2000 was a very best part of my life. I tell you this much, I'll always be thankful that Rascal came into my life.
Yeah.
And he will always be part of my family.
And he died of parvo, right?
He died of a strange parvo-type virus. I mean, the girls are fighting like crazy to keep him alive.
Yeah. Now, were the pups present when he passed?
They were kind of like in the backyard.
Okay. Yeah, I know, because you and I had talked.
Because Lucy kept them in the stable.
Right. You and I had talked, and you were hoping that, they stayed. You wanted them to be in the family.
Yeah, I wanted them to be in the family real bad.
Yeah.
Because the female, she was going to be big like Rascal. But the male, he was small like his mom.
Yeah. Wow. So now, this oak tree where he's buried, is on your old homestead, which is now owned by your cousin.
Yeah.
And you had shared with me an interesting thing. The last time you had seen Lucy was, I think it was by the gravesite, or
yeah.
Okay.
She's buried by the gravesite now.
Okay.
And the pups are in the LBL.
Okay.
I would have loved to have them pups with me now.
Yeah.
If not the female, then definitely the male.
Wow. So at this point, I believe your granddad had passed away. Your dad was still alive.
Yeah, my dad was still alive.
This is before any kind of tragedy had happened.
Yeah.
How'd your dad take it? How'd the family take the loss of Rascal?
Oh, they didn't take it very well at all.
Right.
But they were comforting me because I was taking it the hardest. I mean, I was there at Rascal's grave just when he's been freshly buried, and I was crying and crying. I put my head up against the tree. Now, Lucy had her arms around me and stuff, and I must have passed out. Because Dad, when I woke up, Dad told me, and I found myself laying in bed. I thought maybe Dad brought me in, but no, it wasn't. It was Lucy. Because when I passed out from grief, she must have put me on her back and took me into the house.
Wow. Now, how did she? Obviously, I'm sounds stupid, asking how she took it, and this.
Yeah,
obviously she was sad.
To me, she took it just as hard as the rest of us.
Right. Did she leave his grave, or did she stay right by his grave and howl?
For a few days, yeah, she did.
Okay.
And it was not just a howl. To me, it was an actual cry.
Right, like agony.
Because it's like this. Dogmen mate for life. They're not just like any other dog. Go where bang, 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 bang. No.
Now, she brought the pups out to LBL.
Yeah.
Did she, at that point, did she stay gone? Was that kind of like where she separated herself from your family?
Because when she licked me and held me one last time and told me she had to go, and she went.
Now, when you say told you, are we talking mentally or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a telepathic type
telepathy.
deal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you heard Rascal's voice, like in telepathy, not the last time, because obviously he probably sounds. What did his voice sound like? Was it a deep, bassy sound? Like.
It was a very light.
You know how like people, if you hear somebody, you know how like if you talk to somebody, you can, and you don't see them, you can kind of feel, you can kind of like get a feel like there's like there's certain people that have a voice that you're just like, oh, this person sounds very intelligent. Oh, this person sounds this person sounds that.
Yeah, he sounded like very intelligent, but it was kind of a light voice.
Okay. Like soft?
It really was. It was kind of light voice.
Okay.
Hers was more like a soft female voice, which kind of shocked me, but a little bit. But I actually expected it because she was female. I mean, since both of them are gone, it's just kind of hard for me to take right now. I mean, for them, I know 15 years for some people is not much, but look, this 15 years was like really, really important to me.
Right, you spent day and night with him. It wasn't like losing a friend. It was like losing a family member. It was
like losing a family member.
Yeah.
This is why it's so hard.
Yep. So
I want everybody on there to think about the best family member that you absolutely love, and that family member passing away. That's the way it was like from him, Rascal.
Yeah. Now, when Lucy left and she didn't come back, how was that? I mean, did she say, "Hey, I'm leaving. I'm taking or did she just kind of go and you guys had to wonder what was going on with her?
Yeah. Well, she came and hugged me and told me she has to leave.
Okay.
And I let everybody else know. And Dad says, even though he was kind of sad, and he understood. Because he was like me, and so was everybody else. And it's time to go. They will always be part of the family, though.
Right. Wow.
Because even when they was gone, we never had no problems and no cryptids or nothing. I mean, we didn't even hear their screams or anything off in a distance. I mean, they were just not there no more. Which I'm kind of glad for that.
Yeah. So that was 2000, and at that point, you kind of just stopped, and then you went through a real hard time after that. A lot of loss.
Especially when my mom, my sister, my girlfriend, who was pregnant with our first baby, when little Sally died in a car accident. The Jeep Cherokee got hit by a dump truck just before they got on the Tennessee River Bridge. And it killed all of them instantly.
Wow.
Because it went all the way down that rocky river bank and hit the river. And then in 2004, my dad died. And that was it for me. And I sold the home and everything to my cousins. I said, Robert, you're welcome to come back to stay. And I said, I thank you, but it's just too many memories. I gotta go.
Well, I'm terribly sorry for, all the loss that you took, especially after, losing Rascal like that. It's definitely something, to not many people would be able to cope with such a loss. At this point, you kind of the book would be over. I know that you said you were gonna kind of let your guard down and share some stuff that you've really never talked about or shared.
Yeah.
And that was
this will be about what my grandpa knew or what he told me, because there's a lot of stuff. There's some stuff here that he told me, but like Dad, there's a lot of stuff they didn't share with me. I mean, we'll go to what my grandpa knew about these cryptids. And we'll start out with Bigfoot. These creatures my grandpa said are the Nephilim or the fallen angels, because they disobeyed God's law. And these creatures were once like us. This is what my grandfather told me. He says during Noah's time, they had their own written language in cities like Atlantis and the Mirror, but they became evil and corrupt, began DNA and genetic experiments on everybody and everything. Then God punished them for their evil ways and their lust for power and blood. And God drove them to all four corners of the earth into the nether regions of the underground during the Great Flood. I mean, God destroyed their written language and their cities and turned them into beasts, like what they are now. My grandpa said this is why Bigfoot hates people, because of their bloodlust and evil ways. My grandfather also explained that Bigfoot will always be jealous of people and every living creature, because they, like many people, they hate all the living creatures, because in many of us people, because we have the light of Jesus Christ in us. My grandpa said that Bigfoot are also totally mindless, filthy apes that hate and attack everything because they're urged to expand their territory over others. And my grandpa...
Really quick, I just so people aren't wondering. Now, you keep saying your granddad knew this. How did he know this? Because if someone didn't know, and just heard you talk and heard the 5 interviews we've done prior to this,
Yeah.
they would think your grandfather was, and I'm not a stereotypical person. I don't stereotype anybody, but they might be like, well, this guy's from Kentucky. How does this old hillbilly know all this about this where most people don't? Can you explain how your grandfather knew this and what?
A lot of it he discovered it on himself, and some of the people that he spoke with that he never mentioned their names is where he gathered quite a few of that information.
Okay.
And I asked my grandfather, was he with them at the time? And he said yes. I mean, like I'm saying, there's a lot of stuff my grandpa didn't tell me, but there was a few things he did when I asked.
Right.
And I asked him about how does he know about the Bigfoot clan. He said him and one other, and he didn't tell me where they saw these Bigfoot at. He said, but they observed them. I'm like, okay. And what he told me about the Bigfoot clans, he said they reside in mostly caves or huge holes they dug in riverbanks or in hills. Or in some cases, they'll be in abandoned cabins or houses or broken down structures in the woods. He says Bigfoot clan can get up to 20 to 30 Bigfoot, depending on the clan. And he said the bigger the clan, the more territory they need to sustain their clan. And like my grandfather said, only the alpha male is allowed to mate with all the females of the clan, with the exception of a captured female dogmen, which are usually hybrid dogmen and stuff. He said the gargoyles, my grandfather says, are like super vicious form of Bigfoot caused by 5 to 6 generations of inbreeding. And that's what one of his friends told him. And his friend also showed him that. Now, I don't know where they showed him this. And he said that's where they showed him.
Right.
He told me what causes hybrid dogmen to be super vicious is because of their mixed blood. He said the female Bigfoot have to take care of the clan with no help at all of the alpha male or any of the other males, because she usually works and breeds until she and the other females die. And when the captured female dogman can no longer breed, they're killed outright. And from what my grandfather explained, a young female dogman that's usually captured by juvenile Bigfoot, and the young are usually taken care of by 1 or 2 female Bigfoot until the older juveniles get older. Then they're just left to fend for themselves. And the elderly Bigfoot who can't hunt or breed are either ran off or killed right off the bat. In hunting, the alpha Bigfoot, well, my grandfather told me, he'll send juveniles out to scout and hunt while he scavenges around. And taking territory to alpha male Bigfoot, they'll send the juveniles out to do all the dirty work to either run all the other predators off or kill them. And then they'll mark the territory with these tree structures and stuff. And they'll nightly tree knock or rock banging. Now, the next cryptid my grandfather kind of explained to me now is these, what I would call deer spirits. Because he told me these things are like a form of demon. Because these things will usually run with a herd of deer, either during the spring or late fall.
Okay.
Because these creatures tend to attack hunters in the late afternoon or real early in the morning or at night.
You know, it's funny that it's funny that you say that, because I had someone send in an encounter to me, and they said that they were driving. I don't remember exactly where it was, but they were in a car driving. It was nighttime, and they saw the field on one side, field on the other, and they saw a small herd of deer, and all of a sudden they started crossing. Well, in the middle, a deer stood up and kind of stood in the road as that car stopped, and the guy's in shock, and kind of just stood there, kind of, protecting the deer as they crossed. And they crossed, and he dropped back down onto all fours and followed with the rest of the herd of deer. And I was like, wow, that really. And it's funny that you say that, because I'd heard that story or experience a while ago, and I've never heard anything like that again. So wow, cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, okay.
Because it kind of backs what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, these things, my grandfather says they're solitary creatures, and they look like upright walking deer with brown or pale gray skin with no hair whatsoever.
Huh.
And he said their faces are thin and stretched and have sharp razor teeth and four-fingered hands with antlers or horns. They'll stand anywhere from 6 to 8 foot tall. He says those things will not fight a dogman if they can help it, because they are extremely fast runners, and their eyes are usually black, white, or red. And some of the locals, believe it or not, call them either zombie deers or pale walkers.
Okay.
This next cryptid my grandfather told me about. Ooh, probably the worst one ever. It's the crawlers, or what I call the rakes. My grandpa told me these things are the vicious byproduct of the reptile people and the Nephilim, because he said their amphibian type creatures are made for what my grandpa has always said, to clear out any cryptids, predators, and especially humans. He said these creatures attack on sight. Well, yeah, they do. That much I do know. He says they drink blood like vampires, and they have a constant craving for blood. My grandfather says they're constantly vicious. They live in subterranean caves, holes, and abandoned beaver dams. He says these creatures get up to 4 to 6 foot tall, sometimes 7 foot tall, anywhere from 195 to 300 pounds. They have slimy scaly or just pale skin, huge black eyes, sharp hollow, teeth like fangs, like a snake, and they have a huge poison sac in the back of their mouth and a poison system throughout their bodies to protect them from other predators and cryptids. My grandfather says they use rivers to migrate, and they're all over the place, especially in the LBL and in the northern states. My grandpa told me to use very, very extreme caution, because these creatures have an incredible hearing and smell which is how they hunt. My grandfather told me, he says, be real careful because they hunt in packs to no more than 2, 3, or 4. He said they're mostly solitary creatures until their 3-week mating period, which is in the dead of winter, which is either late November or early January. He said because him and his friend kind of accidentally walked into him. He said, and that was only by chance, and they got the heck out of there because there was 2 of them together. And the next thing my grandfather told me about were the shadow people, black-eyed children, adults, and the bouncing lights or orbs. My grandfather said all of those are demons. He says they always come around graveyards and ancient Indian burial graves, which there are several around the LBL, and at least 2 Indian burial mounds somewhere in the back of my family's homestead, close to the LBL. My grandfather said these shadow people usually move around at night like shadows, and they are not to be approached at all. He said these demons are evil. He said only defense against them is pure salt and holy water in the Lord's Prayer. My grandfather never told me where they came from, but he always told me to beware if I was out at night. So they've got to be coming from somewhere. These things do. I don't know if it's out of a portal or what.
Right.
Now my grandfather, this is what he told me about Dogman. And this is what I found out about Rascal. He said they were upright, super intelligent form of canine created by God. He told me they were originally meant to guard the Garden of Eden and mankind. He said, but man sinned, became separated by Dogman and everything on earth. And he told me that Dogmen especially hate the Nephilim or Bigfoot because of DNA and genetic experiments they did on them and everybody else during Noah's day. He said that God sent the Dogman underground during the flood. And my grandfather always told me that Dogmen always be a leery of man and stay away because the weapons and mass destruction weapons we made. He said Dogmen can communicate by telepathy or telepathic and infrasound. This I found out from Rascal. He says they use telepathic to ward people away from the woods and from their family packs when people get too close. My grandpa describes Dogman as protectors against other cryptids and demons. My grandfather explained that Dogmen usually have 10 to 20 in a family unit at the most. He said there's an alpha male and alpha female, which I found out. And the alpha female that controls the whole family pack, which I always think is cool. The alpha male, he's in charge of the defense and hunting, scouting and protecting the pack's territory, which is not as big as you would think. Maybe a mile wide and maybe 2 miles long, and that's it. And to me, that's not very long. That's not very big.
No.
So that means they're intelligent enough they keep their territory to a minimum, but where it's big enough where they can defend each other, where they can hunt and fish, so no one knows they're there and no one bothers them. And but I found out that dogmen mate for life. I mean, they're not like the other cryptids and canines. And the alpha female, she chooses mating pairs for the other dogmen. Because once a dogman choose a territory or something, they stand in. They don't go to expand their territory like a Bigfoot. And dogmen are always excellent hunters and fishermen. They pick and choose their prey, and they're ambush hunters. Because when they hunt, they're usually not on the ground. They're usually up there in the trees. And they'll like Rascal has done several times with me. He'll slide right out of that tree, land on a deer's back, snap his neck, boom, there's a meal. And dogmen, they don't kill or run their elderly dogmen off who can't hunt or mate anymore. Instead, the elderly help out the alpha female, take care of the young pups and the juveniles, and to keep all the dens clean. And dogmen usually have 4 to 5 dens. 2 dens for mating pairs, 2 dens for birthing the pups, and one den for the sick and dying. Some of the elderly help out the alpha male train the pups and young adults. Dogmen, they usually hunt in packs of 2 to 4, while the remainder guard and protect the family pack. I mean, this is what my grandpa told me about all these cryptids, but I'll always know that he knew more than he told me. Next, I'm going to go over what my dad knows. This is a week before he died, and he told me what he knew about Dogman. Well, my dad and his best friend, who was still in the reserves, they were approached by their commander about a special canine kennel assignment. Well, they agreed and noticed these 12-foot high, 50-foot wide underground kennels, about 10 each. They held quite a few Type 2 dogmen, anywhere from 6 foot to 8 foot tall, anywhere from about 400 to 600 pounds, and they ranged anywhere from dark brown to gray to black in color. I guess what my dad told me is about 6 to 8 of these Type 2 dogmen in this kennel, and these in each kennel. My dad was assigned to Ace, a Type 2 male dogman who was black, 500 pounds, 8 foot tall, with yellow eyes. And I found out Ace was Rascal's father. His best friend was assigned to a thin, 7-foot female dogman named Evie, who is brownish gray and about 600 pounds. Well, my dad and his best friend and their group was taken to an underground training facility, which was about 20 miles underground and about 30 miles wide. This is what my father told me. My dad also told me there was 2 other facilities like this in West Virginia, 2 in Kentucky, 2 in Denver, Colorado, and the last one either in California or Washington State. He said these facilities had their own people and animals as well as crops, and they were all born and grown underground, and they've never been topside at all. My dad told me these animals and people looked real strange and eerie. He said they either had white eyes or very, very, very light sky blue eyes. He said, which is real, real strange. How many of these people and animals were underground? I don't know, because he didn't say. He said on the other side of these facilities were groups of Bigfoot were held. And as my dad and his best friend would be underground training their dogmen, especially Ace and Evie, would be trying to get them back topside. Because these dogmen knew there's something wrong with all them people and animals that were underground. Now, the really weird thing with my dad and his best friend saw was these handlers with these stupid Bigfoot. He said they would set their Bigfoot loose into underground facilities from time to time. And these things would kill a few animals and a few of these weird people, and they would eat them. And after they ate them, they would act real strange, which I guess was a part of the experiment. My dad told me one day 3 of these Bigfoot broke out of their darn cages and attacked the handlers. Well, Ace, who is a Rascal's father and Dad's assigned Dogman, managed to charge up and challenge these. He basically stopped those Dogmen. What Ace did, he basically stopped these Bigfoot by sacrificing his life, killing 2 of the Bigfoot and wounded the 3rd, which was killed by a guard. After that, Dad and his best friend were ordered to process Evie, Rascal's mother, the 3 pups. And that's when Dad and his best friend brought Rascal home to me after they processed Evie and the other 2 pups. Because Rascal was the run of the family, or run of the pack, and he was really, really bad sick. And they didn't think he would live. Why they built these facilities, and my dad says he didn't know. He said that's part of their research and development projects.
Right.
He says because they saw all these lab coats running around, I guess that's what you call scientists and all this, and genetics. He said these people, they look weird. They look really bad, and it kind of scared him. Because they would walk around kind of like machines.
Like they were in a trance or something?
Yeah. He said, Rascal's mom and dad, they didn't like them at all. Because they made sure that these strangers didn't come near Dad and his best friend in their group.
Okay.
Because they evidently those dogmen that Dad and his best friend were with knew there was something wrong with these people.
Yeah, almost like a dog knows when, someone's,
Yeah,
you got a dog and some guy walks by or a
yeah,
person walks by and they're messed up. They'll.
yeah. And Dad told me, yeah, these things were real messed up.
What branch of the service was your dad in, if you don't mind me asking?
Army.
Army? Okay.
But I'm pretty certain it was all branches of service there at these underground facilities.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, there have to be. If you got scientists and stuff all the way down in there, yeah, there's got to be something going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because after that, my dad and his best friend, I guess they were taken off the project.
When they came back with Rascal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Now, what your dad's friend, the one who helped your dad sneak Rascal out,
Yeah.
he's the one that you refer to a lot in the other couple of interviews.
Yeah.
Did he ever?
He was Dad's commanding officer.
Okay. Did he ever get a chance to see Rascal as a grown?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And he was amazed.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Of course, when Dad passed away, and it was his son, told me I didn't need to worry about the government touching Rascal or anything else.
Yeah. Wow. Now, this is information that I'm assuming that you talked and said this is going to be the last chapter of the book. Is this kind of information?
Yeah.
Right. I guess I got a couple questions. You grew up with your backyard being the LBL.
Basically, yeah. Even though the LBL was actually 15 miles away, it was basically my backyard.
Right. Now, did you ever, when Lucy took the pups away and brought them to the family pack or whatever that was out there?
Yeah.
Did you ever go out and look for them just to see them, or have you thought about seeing them? Do you think they'd recognize your scent? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or if I walked out there and I bumped into them, I would stand very still because it wouldn't do me no good to run. Not my age nowadays, but
right.
If they were to hear my voice, it'd take them a minute, but yeah, they would recognize me, especially the pups.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, this is some amazing information that you've shared with us this last couple of interviews. I appreciate it. I really do. I know it was hard to share the beginning part of this interview was definitely hard for you to think about, and I appreciate you sharing that with us.
I enjoyed my interviews here.
Yeah, we're coming up on time. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we end the interview?
Well, it's like this. My life of Rascal, I'm going to say, is very, very unique. And I'm glad to have it. And I'm not going to change. I wouldn't change. If I were to do it over again, I would do the exact same thing. No change whatsoever.
Yeah.
Except for the part that he actually lived and instead of dying. Keep him around me a little bit longer. I mean,
Right. Did you guys ever figure out where he contracted the parvo? Was that?
Well, the only thing my sister and my girlfriend told me is when that rape bit him.
Yeah.
It knocked down his immune system.
Okay.
Quite a bit. Because he was constantly getting colds. He was actually getting a little bit colder. And I noticed his fur and hair and stuff was getting a little bit coarse. But not enough to really worry about until that last week. Because he went from 650 down to 243.
Yeah, in like a week's time. Yeah. Well, I don't want to talk about that and end the interview on a bad thing. I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate you reaching out.
Oh, I loved it.
It's been very interesting. I had heard a few people talk about your experience, and a lot of people don't know this and a lot of people do, but I don't listen to other channels. So I was happy when you did reach out and I was able to hear it firsthand. So it was definitely cool. I think, like I said to you last time we talked, what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile all the interviews together and just put them out as one big kind of lump sum video so everybody can hear all of the experiences in one sitting. So I really appreciate it again. Don't hang up because I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
I really did appreciate you on here. I hope you felt like you were able to share everything that you wanted.
Yeah.
And there was no kind of me directing anything. I just wanted you to be able to share everything you wanted to. So.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, do me a favor. Don't hang up. It was a pleasure having you on.
Oh, it was. It was fun.
It definitely was. And if you, if anything in the near future comes up, please keep me in the loop.
Yeah, I will.
All right, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, folks. So that was the final interview with Robert Sharp in regards to Rascal and his life with him. I'd like to thank you all for all of you understanding why I wanted to re-air these. There's over 2,400 uploads on here, and 5 that should be put together in one lump. I figured, hey, let's just share it all together in a couple of days' time. I'm going to make a playlist so everyone can re-listen to them if they choose. There is a Victor playlist as well. But I also needed Tuesday and Wednesday to myself. My dad had surgery on Tuesday. I had surgery or have surgery coming up on Wednesday. I pre-recorded all of these just so they would be set. So I do appreciate all of the support. And when I come back Thursday, I will come back swinging because I got a bunch of good ideas lined up and a lot of information to share. So with that, I'd like to thank you all for being the foundation of this platform. It really is a blessing to have all of you guys communicating and reaching out and supporting this channel. So thank you. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on your children, your pets, and your loved ones. These creatures are real and they are out there, regardless of what anyone else says. Once you've seen one, you know they exist. There's no going back. So, anyway, God bless you all. Thank you. And there you have it, folks. This early morning, middle of the night bonus. Like I said in the upload I put out a couple hours back with one of his interviews, there was 5. Robert is at our live stream, Saturday Nightmares, live from the Adirondacks. He's there every Saturday in the comment section, and he is very willing to speak with people that have questions. Just a super nice guy, nothing to hide. I hope y'all enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you, and I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is your support, after all, that helps the channel continue to grow and go, and what gives people like Robert a chance and a place to share their experiences and theories judgment-free, simply treated with the respect that we all deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. They are out there and dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. And until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless.